A 10-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, and a 7-time Silver Slugger. Now, David Ortiz officially is the newest member of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on right now is Blue Nile's anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece at BlueNile.com. Thank you for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every single day. I'm your host, NESN's Lauren Campbell. And if you've already tuned into our previous episode on this lovely Monday, first of all, thank you. And second of all, we are so excited to bring you a second episode today. This one is purely dedicated to David Ortiz. We're going to be talking about his Hall of Fame induction on Sunday afternoon in Cooperstown. We're going to be talking about some of the favorite memories from my childhood and the iconic moments from the career of David Ortiz, and read your answers from Twitter that we put out on the Twitter account asking your favorite moments. And we had a lot of the same answers, which I cannot wait to get to. So Sunday marked Ortiz's official induction into the Hall of Fame. He was elected to the Hall of Fame about 6 months ago. He was the only player to be inducted this time around. So it was a very, very special day, a very hot day. But so many people came out. There was a ton of people from Boston, and Cooperstown isn't too far from Boston anyway, so it's an easy trip, but it was hot. Everyone was so excited, and I think the whole day was done really well. The speeches were fun, and it was a really, really just positive day surrounding David Ortiz, especially during a day when the Red Sox were not playing well, a weekend when the Red Sox weren't playing well. Just was a nice touch on a rough weekend that was for the Red Sox. So he was presented his plaque from Commissioner Rob Manfred, and as he always does, he reads what the plaque says, and I loved how it started. So his plaque starts with powerhouse left-handed slugger who was at his best in the clutch. And I think that's the most perfect way to start Big Papi's plaque right there, because he is the most clutch hitter in Red Sox history, one of the best designated hitters that we may ever see. And I think that he is so important to the game of baseball. He's so important. His importance as a whole is so great for the Dominican Republic. And growing up, I obviously loved watching him. I loved when the Red Sox brought him in when he was all done with the Minnesota Twins. And this was the best thing that could have happened to him. And the Red Sox took a chance on him. And what a chance it was, because he has so many amazing memories. The Grand Slam in 2013, the speech in 2013 after the marathon bombings, the 2004 Game 5 ALCS walk-off single. And there's just so many memories. And I think being able to grow up watching him from when I was a teenager into my 20s and understanding the importance that he brought to this game and just have so much fun watching him. He was truly just such a powerhouse of a hitter, which is exactly what his plaque says. And I was thinking today, just, David Ortiz is such a household name. Everyone knows who he is. He's such a larger than life personality. He's such a great player. And I don't think, not Jake's generation, because Jake was able to quite literally grow up with David Ortiz. He's 10 years younger than me. So he really saw all of David Ortiz's career. But kind of the younger generation of Jake's, I guess we'll call it, is, I don't know if they really know the importance of David Ortiz. And that's probably same for me saying, like, I don't know the true importance of Ted Williams or Collier Yastrzemski. I never got to see those guys play, but I understand what they did for the Red Sox at that time. And I'm sure that the younger kids, they know what David Ortiz did, but being able to watch it and experience it, the highs, the lows, the pump up speeches, the rally cries, everything in between, I think is just so much fun to be able to remember this, look back on this, and just remember so many positive memories from the Red Sox. And a lot of them revolve around David Ortiz, or they involve David Ortiz in some way, shape, or form. We saw in 2013 when he was in the dugout and he had the team around him in 2013, and it was during the World Series. And you just knew he was getting that team locked in, and you knew that the players were listening to him. Players wanted to be near him. Players wanted to listen to him. And I just think that that speaks so much of who David Ortiz is. So for the whole day, the induction, like I said, was really well done. There was some great moments. David Ortiz started his speech by just saying, "Wow, Cooperstown," and his big boisterous personality that he is. And what I really, really loved about his speech was that he moved freely, speaking English and Spanish, and it was just very smooth. The transition was very smooth. And I've said this before that I just love hearing players speak in their native language. You hear it a lot in hockey when reporters will speak to a player, whether it's French or any other language. It's really cool to hear that interaction and that conversation, even though I don't know what they're saying. You can just feel the comfort level and the trust between the player and the reporter. But having David Ortiz speak freely between English and Spanish was just a really, really cool way to connect to his fans, his family, and everyone in between. It was a lot of fun to just watch this speech. It was almost 20 minutes long. I think it was 18 minutes. And David Ortiz thanked a ton of people. One of those people, or one of those teams, was the Minnesota Twins for giving him a shot at MLB. And he said, "Once I got my shot in any other place, I was never going to let it go." And that was when he was released from the Minnesota Twins. And he did get an opportunity, and he really did never let it go. He told the Red Sox that I can't thank you enough for building me up and supporting me throughout the years. That organization made me the man I am today. And I think this goes back to what I said earlier, that he really took in this opportunity and did not take it for granted. He took every opportunity to become a better player, to become a better person. And he really did that. He really embraced not just the Red Sox, but the entire city of Boston, which we will talk about in the second segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast. But he talked about his first at bat in 2003 when Grady Little was the manager of the Red Sox, and Grady Little told him, this was during spring training, he told him that he did not want Ortiz to move the runners over. "I want you to bring them in." And that kind of became what he was known for, right? Bringing runners in the biggest moments of the biggest games. He was Mr. Clutch. He was the hitter you wanted with a 3-2 count, bases loaded, 2 outs, game on the line. You wanted David Ortiz at the plate, no matter the circumstance. David Ortiz also thanked John Farrell and Terry Francona, who also managed him during his career. He said, "I love you guys. I'm going to have you in my heart." And I think it was just an ode to them, a nice nod to them. Terry Francona and John Farrell, I think both were respected in this organization. Terry Francona, of course, with the World Series championships, John Farrell as well. And I just think David Ortiz doesn't have the career he does, or some of the years he does, without either of those guys. And then, of course, he talked about his final game in 2016 when the Red Sox were unfortunately eliminated in the postseason. And he just said it felt like everyone in New England was on the Fenway Park field with him, and said that Boston will always be his heart and a place that he'll always be here for this city. And I think those were my favorite takeaways from his speech in Cooperstown. And it was just a lot of fun to watch him get what he deserves and be in the Hall of Fame alongside some of baseball's greatest players. And I think it was really, really well done as well. I think the whole day, like I said, was really well done. It was really fun to see Wade Boggs, Jim Rice, all these other Hall of Famers just be there for Ortiz. And there was a lot of emotion. And I think that goes to show how important David Ortiz was to the game of baseball, is to the Dominican Republic, and is to the city of Boston, and just baseball as a whole. Coming up in our second segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast, we're going to continue talking about David Ortiz. I'll share some of my favorite moments, as well as read your favorite moments as well. But first, I want to tell you about Blue Nile. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring to gifting a classic and timeless piece of jewelry at prices you will not find at a traditional jeweler. Whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a big milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as the person you're celebrating with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, the size, the clarity, and the setting style. And then Blue Nile's bench jewelers will handcraft the perfect engagement ring, meaning each ring is one of a kind. Make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and going on right now is the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale. So you can save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, it ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging so it won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. So David Ortiz, this episode is all about number 34, David Ortiz, and some of my favorite moments growing up watching David Ortiz. A lot of it just revolves around watching baseball with my grandmother. My grandmother, God love her, is 94 years old. She still loves watching baseball. We talk about the Red Sox. We talk about how they are maddening her with each passing day, it seems. But we were talking about David Ortiz and just some of my earliest moments watching baseball. Just, she loved Ortiz. She loved every time he was at bat. She goes, "This fella's gonna get a hit now. You watch, he's gonna get a hit." And he would do something. He would do what she would say. And she's like, "I told you that fella was gonna get a hit." So being able to just have that kind of connection is a lot of fun. Of course, in 2013, after the Boston Marathon was bombed, David Ortiz really brought the city back together during a time where people probably felt unsafe going to Fenway Park, probably felt a little on edge. And if you're not from New England or you're not from Boston, the Marathon Monday is like a national holiday. It's so much fun. People take work off, and it's just a really fun day of celebrating baseball. And then the marathon, you're watching some of these elite runners, some of the most elite runners in the entire world, cross the finish line. The Red Sox play early. And so once the game's over, a lot of fans usually go to the finish line. And that's where the bombing occurred in 2013. So it really left people on edge. So the first home game since the marathon bombing, David Ortiz got the microphone and famously has now said, "This is our beeping city." We keep it clean here on Locked On Red Sox, but you can find the unedited clip on Twitter. And I think that was the moment that, even though it was April, I feel like a lot of people felt that was the time the Red Sox were going to win the World Series. There was no doubt they were losing the World Series after something like that, and just being able to bring the city together. So that was a huge moment. Of course, in 2004, he had plenty of clutch hits. I don't want to talk about too many of them because our Twitter followers did give us some great answers as well. And of course, the Grand Slam in 2013, when the famous bullpen cop, Steve Horrigan, he is now just a beloved figure in Boston. He is a retired police officer now. He sent David Ortiz, sent a Grand Slam into the bullpen. That was a game changer right there. I was at Cask and Flagon in Boston celebrating my birthday. My fiance was actually at the game. We didn't know each other then, and we probably crossed paths at that point, but that was just a little fun fact there. But of course, I had to ask everyone on Twitter what their favorite David Ortiz memory was on and off the field. We got a lot of great answers. We got a lot of similar answers, which I think goes to show just how much of an impact and how memorable he is. And Marty Berry said, "Game 4 of the 2004 ALCS extra innings dinger, never will forget." I will not forget that either, Marty. That was one of my other favorite moments. And again, it was just a clutch hit front and a clutch moment during the season that the Red Sox fans probably were losing hope because they were playing the Yankees in the ALCS. And it was just like, here we go again. We're going to get our hearts broken. The Yankees are going to go on to win the World Series, but they didn't have David Ortiz, did they? MJ said, breaking the franchise single season home run record against the Twins, September 21st, 2006. All the feels, all the karma. So sweet. Yes, I think that was that karma. I mean, karma 100%. You get to break the franchise home run record against the team that essentially gave up on you. That was a great moment. Also, home run number 500 against the Rays. It's a shame he couldn't do it at home, but it was so much fun being able to see him break that or reach that milestone. So a lot of home runs are in these answers. Jeff Bandini, he said 2013 World Series because I went to all 6 games, home and away, and his performance was outstanding. And then he said, piggybacking on this today, it's a picture of his Apple Watch. He said, happened to look down at my watch, which displayed 688 calories burned. Good job. Nice workout. The average David Ortiz hit in that 2013 World Series. A lot of David Ortiz signs on Sunday. The 2013 World Series, of course. I was at the home games. So, Jeff, we crossed paths at some point. I was working for ESPN. I was a freelance production assistant for the home games. That was a lot of fun. That was a heck of an experience to be around that kind of atmosphere and watch the Red Sox clinch the World Series at home. Michael Barber, way too many to choose from. So true. When you have a career that you do of David Ortiz, you know that there's just a laundry list of things. There's going to be books upon books of David Ortiz. We're going to be teaching our kids about David Ortiz and who he was and what he did for baseball. R.W. Monty says bottom of the 14th, game 5, 2004 ALCS. And Joe Buck famously said Damon could keep right on running to New York. The game was past midnight, so the Red Sox had to get on a bus and ride to New York City to continue the ALCS, where we all know what happened. We all know they came back from an 0-3 hole, went on to win the World Series, broke the 86-year curse. We love that. Sean Driscoll, loyal listener, he said, first game back after the marathon. I was a senior in college, and his speech was amazing. Yes, 100%. I just talked about this, that the speech was so much more than him just swearing on live TV. It was the fact that he truly rallied the troops and got this city feeling okay and feeling a little bit of normalcy after the last few days were just awful and trauma-filled, and it was a really scary time here in Boston. Holly M says the speech, the home run in the 2013 ALCS. I'm assuming she's talking about the Grand Slam, the 2013 World Series, the 2004 ALCS. There's too many to choose from. Just so thankful I got to see him play, not just in Boston, but in AA New Britain as well. That's really cool that Holly got to see him in AA and kind of see his beginning and see him before he was Mr. Clutch. So that was a really cool answer. And then Bruins offseason 2022 says the speech after the marathon bombing, this is our beeping city. So a lot of that speech, and I feel like the 2013 speech really resonated with people because, like I mentioned, the marathon had been bombed. People were feeling uneasy, probably a little scared to be at Fenway, looking over their shoulders a little bit more, being a bit more cautious about if there's a backpack on the ground. And David Ortiz just embraced the city of Boston and knew how much the city meant to everyone, how much the marathon means not just to the people in Boston, but the people who run it, and knows that this is a day, Marathon Monday is a day for Boston to just be happy and be in the moment and just have so much fun. And that speech was so much more than just a speech. Like I said, it really brought the city together. We could go on and on and on about David Ortiz and what he means to the city of Boston. And we'll continue to do that in the third segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast after I tell you about BetOnline, because betonline.net is the fastest and the easiest way to check out all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. You can also find reviews and news of every league, including MLB, NFL. It is so close. Training camp is just days away. NBA, Summer League, the NBA season will be here before we know it. NHL, I know we don't want to wish the summer away, but I cannot wait for Boston Bruins hockey, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. So in our third segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast, we usually do the mental health minute, and we will revolve that around David Ortiz because especially in the 2013 World Series and that postseason and the season alone. Like I said, he had that speech and it was just an amazing time to bring the city together. In 2013, I left my abusive relationship. So baseball was something I completely leaned on, and I just loved every second of every game because baseball is something that has been part of my life since I was 3 years old. And no matter what kind of situation I was in, I could watch baseball. That was like the one thing I knew that I could look forward to every single day. So David Ortiz doing what he did in 2013, and then in the World Series when I was able to work those games, it just meant so much to me. And a trying year for me for several reasons. I don't think David Ortiz understands the impact, and the Red Sox, the impact that they had on me in 2013, not just winning the World Series, but just having the band of brothers and the bearded brothers or whatever they called themselves. They just had so much fun. It was just a bunch of big goofs having a great time in 2013. And it kind of brought me back to life. And it was just knowing that David Ortiz was, the center of that team, doing everything that he could to be the best player that he can. I don't think he thought when he was with the Minnesota Twins, wondering what the heck his career holds after that. He probably didn't think he'd be one of the most clutch hitters in all of baseball, the Red Sox biggest clutch hitter they've ever seen, and just somebody who meant so much to the fans. He was just a happy guy. And in 2019, he got shot in the Dominican Republic. He sounded like he almost died with all the blood he lost, and it was a very close range shot. And he mentioned that in his speech. He said that he thanks God every day to be able to be here. And I think that when he did get shot, how many people were genuinely devastated and genuinely scared that he was going to die. And he had such an impact on people. And I think we saw how much that impact was when we almost lost him. So he had a huge impact on me for several reasons. He clearly has an impact on baseball fans and Red Sox Nation. And it's just important and it's awesome to just look back and see the career he had and how much he meant to people, how much he meant to fans. Of course, it's unfortunate that all this love came out for him after he had gotten shot, but we knew that he was so loved before that happened. But the impact he had on fans will never go unnoticed. And I think that's a great place to end the Locked On Red Sox podcast. Congratulations to David Ortiz, forever being enshrined in baseball history. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to Locked On Red Sox right here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast is where you can find us. Follow us on Twitter at LO_Red Sox. Jake at Jake Iggy, he will be back for tomorrow's episode. And me at La Lauren, 3 Laws, Lauren with 4 R's. Be sure to check out all the other Locked On shows across the network, Locked On O's, Locked On Yankees. Everyone's having a wonderful time in the AL East while their teams are having success, while the Red Sox are really struggling to find a groove right now. Now that you've made Locked On Red Sox your first listen, head on over to Locked On MLB to make it your second listen. Paul Francis Sullivan, friend of mine, friend of the pod, just call him Sully though, brings you humor, he brings you passion, and he brings you his unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, right on the Odyssey app, right here on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to check back tomorrow as we hopefully will recap better days ahead for the Red Sox. We'll see you soon. Congratulations, David Ortiz. We'll see you tomorrow. And as always, let's go Red Sox.